Canon Rebel T6i, and I did not know how to use it whatsoever. I saved up for it and I was so excited, and I had no clue what ISO, aperture, shutter was. I just put it on SCN mode and I thought that looked really good and started filming, and that's how it all started. My dad was a little bit iffier, I'd say. He was concerned that I wasn't really making money. It took me about a year and a half from the day that I decided to make filmmaking my career to actually land a paying gig. So it was a huge work in progress, and my dad was a little uncertain about that whole process, and luckily I stuck with it because now I can support myself full-time doing this. My emails, because usually if I have an email, that's a paying client, and I'm pretty stoked when that happens and get very excited about that. I always get every single time is that I look like Andy Samberg or Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so I think he would be a perfect mix, and also because he's pretty funny, so I think that would be a good, I'm not saying I'm funny, but you know. I'd say that I like Instagram better because I can see all these different filmmakers and all their different content through all these filmmaking pages, which I love a lot. I would choose buffalo wings every single time as my last meal, but the real ones, like New York buffalo wings, not hot wings or barbecue wings. It has to be New York sauce buffalo wings because they're so damn good. Batman is my favorite superhero character ever because he's the only one that's actually really a human being. Everybody else has superpowers and are overpowered, and Batman's just a normal dude, well, a super rich dude that goes around beating up people, and that's cool. I don't know if you've seen the movie Jumper, but I think that's the coolest superpower hands down because you could just go anywhere instantaneously and travel all over the world, and I think that'd be so awesome. You could catch sunrises at any place or sunsets at any place and probably create the coolest travel film ever. But not only that, you could just get into anywhere, go anywhere, see anything that you want. So Jumper, superpower. When you have this idea in your head and you want it to come to life, sometimes the most frustrating thing is understanding that that idea is not going to come out exactly how you dreamt of it, and you kind of have to be okay with that, but you also have to be able to mold and go with the flow a lot because nothing ever goes right on shoots, or not nothing ever goes right, but things go wrong a lot, and things aren't going to always work out how you want them to be working out. So you just have to learn how to kind of ease and go with the flow because things are always going to be changing, and then you take from that and things that don't work and then just try to re-engineer it and make it work in a different direction. Sapiens, and I love the book. I think I've, well, not read, listened to it about 60 or 70 times because I'll listen to it right before I go to sleep, and then I always fall asleep, and then I have to re-listen to it because it's a very in-depth book about the human history and where we came from and why we do what we do. So I find it super fascinating, and I recommend that to anybody. I love Christopher Nolan as a director, one of my favorite directors of all time, and I think what he did with the Batman movies is just amazing, hands down. And everybody always loves The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight Rises, that opening scene, whoo! And Bane, such a badass character, but I love Christopher Nolan's movies, so any of those are pretty amazing. Once you start, be patient. It's going to take time. It's going to take time to get your skills down. You want to learn as much as you can. YouTube is such a great source. Instagram with all the filmmaking pages are amazing sources. Just soak up everything that you can as a sponge and put a camera in your hand, whatever it is, a cell phone, Canon Rebel, anything. It doesn't matter what it is, just go out and film and soak up as much information as you can, because the more experience you have behind the camera and the more that you learn through tutorials and different teachings is gonna make you such a great filmmaker. FPV racing drones, and that was a process and a half to learn how to do that. I'd be a race car driver. Luckily, when I first started out filmmaking, I actually got a deal where I got to trade to race a Formula 3 car at Laguna Seca, so I got to experience that a little bit, and almost crashed twice, which was terrible because I didn't pay for the insurance. I was broke filmmaker back then, and that would have been really bad because I don't think I would have ever recovered from the cost of that, but luckily I'd still do it. So the Sigma Art 35mm, the EF mount obviously for Canon. I just love that lens. I love the look that it produces and how crisp it is. I worked at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in the souvenir shops department, and we just sold a bunch of junk. It was a very boring, long job. Besides gaff tape is coffee. If you don't have gaff tape or coffee, then there's a problem. When you have an idea in your head that you can see it come to life, and it's just such an amazing experience to think about something that started in your head, and then you write it down on paper, and then from there you plan it out and all this work, and then eventually you shoot it, you edit it, then you put in your music, and then you make this all come together, and this is something that's your statement, something that you created from your head, and now you can share with the world. And I think that is one of the coolest things about filmmaking. That I want to be a director and feature filmmaker. That is my biggest aspiring goal. Make sure that this is something you're really passionate about, because it is a very tough career to be financially stable in, and it has to be something that drives you. I mean, anything in life, you should follow something that you love and that drives you, because that's where you're going to have the best outcome and experience in.